Hi folks, it's Andy. Welcome to this week's Kendo Rant. Okay, here we are again for another week of fantastic questions. We've got lots today. We've got a lot. All right, so we're going to fire through them rapidly. All right, but just before we do, you know, the YouTube stuff, right? Like, share, subscribe, all that stuff helps people start Kendo. Yeah, because YouTube thinks, oh, that's a good video. Let's show it to more people that might like it. And then people that don't know about Kendo see it. And then they go, oh, let's start Kendo. And then you have helped somebody start Kendo and you've grown the Kendo community. That's the good you can do. Just by clicking the little thumbs up, ring the Kendo bell. It makes you better at Kendo as well. If you do that, get that stuff done. But most importantly, support the channel. Keep the camera rolling. Keep the lights on. Keep my kids fed. Shop at KendoStar.com. That's my website, of course. It sells amazing, brilliant, fantastic, stupendously awesome Kendo equipment. And of course, I would say that. So check out our Trustpilot rating, our reviews, all that stuff. Ask the people in your dojo. Everyone says KendoStar's the best, and they're right. All right, so get to KendoStar.com. All right. Right, let's get into these questions. Okay, first one. Really interesting video, thanks for that. I once used Katatetsuki on a sensei because I thought it was the opening he gave me. Okay, so this is in response to the last week's video where we was talking about doing ski on the sensei. So that was quite a good video, right? I really enjoyed talking about it and we've had some really good reactions to it. So this is a comment that was on that. Everything went into slow motion as I made the attack, and it was one of those. It was at this point I realised that I, thankfully it landed reasonably. But Sensei was kind enough to give me the longest Uchikomi Geiko of my life, so I learnt the lesson sharpish. This video helps add some context to that lesson, so thank you for taking the time to elaborate on the finer points. Another question I have, perhaps on the same broader topic. Once in Japan, I disarmed the sensei of the dojo I was training at. Again, it was one of those that happened before I thought about it moments. But I instantly felt so bad for doing it. He made me not rotate and have a second Keiko with him. Guessing that's the same deal as the ski on your ski or your example of Debana Kote. So this question's going to need a bit of context from the last video. We were talking about why it's not the best plan always to do the ski against the sensei and why it's not necessarily appropriate. All right. I'm not going to go over that again because it was quite a long topic, but yeah, I mean, there's a couple of things here, to be honest, that you're absolutely right about, and a couple of things I want to just pick up that, especially if some of this stuff happened in Japan, there's there's another way that it can be interpreted as well. All right, so this example where you've done this ski on the sensei's katate ski, that's a one-handed ski, and then afterwards they made you do the long uchikomi. That's not necessarily a negative thing. All right, so that's the other thing you have to understand. And this is where it's difficult, all right, because it kind of contradicts what I said in the last video. I'm not saying that every time you do a ski on the sensei, they're going to get offended or upset. Most of the time, they're not. That wasn't the overarching point I was trying to make in the last video. It wasn't that doing ski is rude. It can be considered rude for the reasons that I gave. Most importantly, the reason you don't want to do it is because it doesn't help develop your Kendo. That's the point I wanted to get across. Most senseis aren't going to care or get upset about it. All right? And a lot of them will praise you for it. And what you've got here, yeah, is you've done this ski on the sensei, and to be honest, you probably impressed them, all right? If this was happening in Japan, I don't know if it was in Japan or not, but if this was happening in Japan, you do that, you do the keiko with the sensei, and then afterwards they may do a really long or hard uchikomi geiko or kakari geiko. If you don't know what uchikomi geiko is, by the way, I've got a video about it, so go and watch that after this. They give you the really hard keiko afterwards. It's not because they're trying to punish you. They're trying to reward you. It's the opposite, all right? So that's the other thing you have to kind of think about, right? We often misperceive that as, oh, he really was trying to punish that person, or really trying to beat down or teach them a lesson. It's not that. They're impressed with you, so they're giving you the opportunity to do the uchikomi with them more. Yeah. So you should take it as a compliment when that happens. It's like a few years ago now. Last time we had a international summer seminar here in the UK, where we get the famous Hachidan senseis to come and teach us. I was there as an interpreter, and throughout the weekend, obviously, I spent a lot of time with the senseis. But one of the senseis in particular, I was lucky enough to get the chance to have the practice with them. And for the Jigeiko, we didn't do Jigeiko. He just made me do Kakari-geiko, and it was really hard, really tough. Especially as I don't get the opportunity to do that as much these days. So he made me do the really long, hard Kakari-geiko until I felt like I was going to die. And I took that as a super huge compliment. All right, he did that for me as a gift. All right, rather than just doing Jigeiko. It was better, actually. So there's that as well, right? It's not that he was like mean to me or something like that. He was rewarding me, actually. So that leads on to the next part, where you talk about where you accidentally, isn't probably the wrong word, but without thinking about it, disarm the sensei, where you knock the shin out of the hands. Yeah, it's not something you should be aiming to do in the keiko, because again, you're not gonna gain out of it. It's the same thing with your ski, right? But when you do it, it's not that like the sensei's gonna be like, oh right, I'm gonna show this guy sort of thing. It's like, this person obviously asked you to do a second keiko with you because probably they wanted to do more practice with you. So I'd really take it as a positive, as a compliment more than anything. It's not a punishment, all right? It's not them beating down on you. So that's the point I want you to take away from that, all right? You know, and look, here's the other thing, and here's another. Here are we going into the hot takes already? Straight away, boom, straight off the bat. Sometimes senseis are mean, and it feels like they're doing things maliciously. Maybe they are, maybe they're not. I don't know, but because we don't know what's going on inside the head, sometimes they do these really mean karageikos where they smack you around the legs and around the back of the head and stuff like that, and it's like horrible. It's like hell, and maybe it's coming from a bad place. Maybe, I don't think so. I've never seen it where I really think that it is, but it's easy to think that that's what it is. But does it matter? Does it matter? Because it's still a vehicle for you to really improve, for your kendo to blossom, because you've had that, you know, applied to your kendo. It's been put there for you. It doesn't matter what the motivations behind the person doing it for you is. You've been given that vehicle to improve, so it should be looked at as a gift. You know, I've had practices with senseis where afterwards I thought, oh god, that guy really hated me. But actually, did he? Don't know. Does it matter? Maybe not. So there we go. There's that. I won't go too far into that because we've got a lot of questions today. And it is a potential can of worms. It's just the problem is, I'll tell you what the problem is. Here's where the hot take comes, is that in the West, we've got a problem overcoming our ego. It's not just in the West, but it's more in the West than in my experience in Japan, because of the way Kendo is trained into people from a young age, whereas we come into it as an adult and we have an adult's perspective and we have a developed ego already. So it's a bit different. Okay, I'm not saying that there's no such thing as egotistical kendo players in Japan, or that people doing kendo in Japan don't have an ego, because they do. It's just different because the whole experience is along the way. The expectations are different in the first place. And I'm saying that as well. We are going to carry on with these questions, but I'm saying that from a point of experience. So perhaps I'm generalizing what I was like to everybody else. So maybe I'm wrong on that. I get that too. Right, good evening, Fish Sensei. First of all, apologies for the long question. This weekend I attended a Godo Geiko that has given me the opportunity to analyse an issue that I'm facing. First of all, I'm currently first kyu and preparing for first dan. I've noticed during Keiko my attitude is not aggressive enough. I have the feeling I'm developing a habit to react rather than taking the initiative. This is quite worrisome. I don't want to be attacking like a maniac without any sort of sense. Starting from Toma, when I move to Isoku Ito, before I have time to find an opening, my opponent immediately attacks, leaving me only an option to react. I'm struggling with this, and again, I don't want to get stuck on a permanent reactive Kendo. Any ideas how to correct this situation? Many thanks, and once again, congrats on such a wonderful channel. Thank you very much. Okay, yes. Now, however, this is kind of really interesting because this is something that comes up more. This is a stumbling block people have, like from the 3rd dan to 4th dan level. All right, so it's a little bit early for you to be hitting this wall. It's not a problem. It's not reactive. It is if you step in and then when they move, you react. But you've got a little bit of extra information, yeah, that you can use to your advantage. You know, from what you've written here, you know when you step in from Toma to your Isoku distance, they're going to attack you. All right? Great. What better opportunity for Debana Waza do you have for Debana Kote, Debana Men, Men Kaishido, Oji Waza? What better opportunity do you have than when you already know when the strike's coming? Yeah? Okay. When I step in, they're going to come, so bam, I can go first. So it means you have to, when you step in, you have to make sure that you step in already ready to go. And then as soon as you step in, start your men strike. And they'll attack and you'll hit the Debana Men or the Degote. Or you can step in and then you can do the Kaishido or something like that. That's one way to practice, all right? Second thing you can do. You don't have to go from Toma to Isoku in one step, all right? You can use your footwork. You can start at Toma. Yeah, this is where you do yeah. And then you want to get to Shokujin. All right, this is where just the Kensen are just touching, right? And then instead of from here, or even from here, instead of just going, yeah, zoom, like this, from here, yeah, I don't have another Shinai, but from here, yeah, you can use your Shinai Sabaki, use your Shinai this way, move a little bit gradually, little by little, and almost so the opponent almost doesn't realize, and then you can do your Shikake Waza. All right, so 2 things. If you know that if you make a big bold step in, they're going to come at you, so you can use that to your advantage. Second, you don't have to make one step in. Yeah, and then little by little get to your cutting distance. Try to do it without them noticing. All right, and as soon as your Shinai start touching, you have to be ready to go, though. Be prepared that they might come. If they do, that's when you want to do the Oji Waza or Debana Waza, something like that. Okay? I'm sure you'll be fine with it, but just keep those things in mind. And this question is fantastic, because any of you guys out there that are like 3rd dan going on 4th dan, and you're struggling with how to deal with, like, people that attack randomly at you, this is how you do it. All right, this is how you do it, and it's a massive failing point for people that are trying to get over that 3rd dan into 4th dan barrier. Okay, but it just goes to show that question that it's not just people at that level that struggle with it. Okay, I find these rant videos pretty addictive. Good. Thanks for making them. I've got a question for you. Good. Okay, during practice, my scarf often becomes quite loose and begins twisting around the bamboo staves, making it difficult to grip. Before practice, I always make sure my tsuru is tightened and my shinai is assembled well, but it doesn't seem to matter. Still gets loose. I tried a trick I read about where dampening the leather and let it dry for a few days, but only helped for a couple of practices. Any thoughts? I need to replace the scarf. Thanks. Okay. This can happen. It does sound like the sky's a little bit too big for the Shinai. It happens sometimes. It's not a massive problem. What you're probably finding is that your hands are twisting too much during your practice. You know, if you're holding the Shinai properly and using a proper tenuchi, your Shinai sky shouldn't twist too much, even if it's a little bit big. So, yeah, I mean, a nude sky would help. One that's more appropriate for the size of the Shinai. If it's the scar that came with the Shinai, it's quite unlikely they'd put one on that's too big. I don't know, it depends where you got it from. Yeah, I mean, I don't think the wetting it and letting it dry thing is going to work for you. I wouldn't be overly concerned about it unless it's really, really like baggy on it. In which case, yeah, you're going to need to get a new scar. Okay. So don't give it too much thought. To be honest, but just think about how you actually grip in the shinai, because that's probably what's causing the twisting more than anything. Okay, we've got a nice long one here. Right, let's have a look. Okay, hello Andy, how are you? Hope everything is all right and your family's doing well and KendoStar continues to grow. Yeah, of course, we're doing fantastic and KendoStar is doing better than ever. Thank you everybody so much. I recently went to join a Kendo club I joined in Sweden and I really enjoyed it. It's my first time actually practicing joining a Kendo club outside my country because I'm from Portugal and I recently moved to live in Sweden. My question that I bring to you are regarding the sets of uniforms of Kendogi and Hakama. What's the difference between Kachi, the featherweight, elite featherweight Kendogi and pleat lock Hakama uniform set, Kurenai, Seaizome lightweight Kendogi and cotton pleat lock Hakama Kendo Hakama uniform set, and the Kimboshi double layer Kendogi 10,000 Hakama prestige uniform set? I want to know the difference between them regarding using them as well as whilst practicing. If I use them, will the colour fade away after many hours of practice? The process of washing in just cold in the washing machine or by hand? Even if I use the best detergent on the market that protects dark colours, will the colours fade away? My last question is, if I buy a Kendo uniform set, so I need to take measurements, or do I simply guide myself by the height sizes that are on the website for each size in order to choose the right Kendogi and Hakama for myself? Thank you so much once again for everything that you do, for the YouTube videos of Kendo RANT, instructional videos, and this amazing website, KendoStar, that never fails us. Thank you very much. Okay, so right, Kachi is a synthetic uniform set. All right, it's a really lightweight polyester uniform. You can throw it in the washing machine with your normal clothes. You can use your detergent. Color's not going to fade. It's not going to shrink. All right, it's lightweight. It's easy to wear, easy to fold up because the pleat lock stitching in the front of the Hakama keeps the pleats where they are. It looks neat when you're wearing it. So easy to care for. So easy to care for. It's great for regular practice. Because it's such easy low maintenance. All right, like I say, you can just wash it normally. You don't have to worry about it shrinking. You don't have to worry about the color bleeding or anything like that. Kurenai is a new one that we launched this year. We took the same pleat lock stitching on the Hakama and we put it onto a more traditional type of uniform. Now with the traditional type of uniform, the Kendogi and the Hakama are 100% cotton. Right now, the problem with this, it's not a problem, but the thing you've got to bear in mind with it is with washing, they do shrink ever so slightly. Okay, you don't want to wash them in the washing machine. The dye that's used to color them is traditional Aizome dye. Even with a detergent that says it'll fix the colour or doesn't let the colour fade, it's not a good idea. Don't recommend it. I recommend only washing it in cold water by hand. All right? Don't put it in your washing machine. Definitely don't put it in a dryer. Okay? That's absolutely the best way to do it. Now, the benefits of that over Kachi is that it is a more traditional looking uniform. It looks more proper, like a Kendo uniform. It's excellent, especially if you want to use it for grading or for shiai, something like that, where you want to, or like a special occasion, where it's going to look a little bit more presentable. Or if you don't really like the feel of like the synthetic fabrics, that's fine too. The synthetic fabrics are great because they're lightweight, like with the Kachi. The downside to it, of course, is that it doesn't necessarily wick sweat away quite as well as cotton does. You have a bit of both with the Kurenai. We've used the synthetic lining in the Kurenai. It's like a synthetic mesh lining, so it keeps it lightweight and it's really soft and comfortable on the skin. One thing I found with single layer Kendogi over the years is that they can be quite rough on the skin, so we put this synthetic mesh lining inside that makes it much softer on the skin. It's not going to chafe or anything like that, but you do have the cotton on the outside of it, so it has that appearance and it does wick away the sweat a little bit better. So that's what that's about. The Kimboshi, on the other hand, that's like a super traditional heavyweight set. So it's much heavier than the other two. It's a very heavyweight Hakama. It's in the same way, it's it's made of 100% cotton, so you've got to think about it will shrink a little bit when you wash it. The dye is going to leak and fade a little bit. So same with the kurenai and the kimboshi. With use, the color will fade. You don't get that with the kachi because it's all synthetic. With the kimboshi, you do have more weight to it. Some people prefer a hakama or a kendogi that feels a little bit heavier. Some people prefer that. It does present a really nice appearance because of that. So if you really, especially if you're looking for going for like high grade gradings, or if you know you just prefer that sort of solid feel, it's the kendogi is a bit thicker as well, so it's got a little bit of cushioning to it. It's a bit more protective, so it's got that as well. Of course, there's an extra price to pay for that because it's a much higher quality sort of process that goes into making those. In terms of the hakama as well, you don't get the pleat lock on the kimboshi. Now you might think, why would you not get that on a more expensive hakama? The pleat lock is fantastic, but it doesn't work really well with heavyweight fabrics. All right, so if we were to put that into the kimboshi, the fabric's just too heavy for it to work. The stitches that run down the front of the pleats when you go into sonkyo, when you stand up, because of the weight of the fabric, it just balloons out and it doesn't fall back into place. It needs a sort of soft, flexible material for that to work well. So that's why on the kurenai, it's a lighter weight hakama. So that's the main differences, I guess. In terms of washing, kachi you can throw in the washing machine like normal. Kurenai and kimboshi you need to take more care with. You need to wash it by hand and without detergent. And then in terms of measurements, generally it's going to go off your height and also your build. If you are, you know, there's a height chart on the website and stuff like that. And if you are for the kendogi, there's measurements on there. You want to think about the sort of height that you are, and then if you're a bigger build, you're going to need a slightly larger size for the kendogi. If you're a slimmer build, you can get away with a smaller size. Hakama is the same because it's just, the difference is mainly just the length. There is width differences on the smaller sizes and the bigger sizes, but it's not massive. So it's mainly a length thing. So the hakama is purely off your height. Okay. So that's pretty much that. If you're stuck about measuring for it though, just pop us an email and we'll give you the best advice. Okay. Right. Next one. Good evening, Fish Sensei. I was thinking of posting this as a comment on your YouTube channel, but I didn't want to come across in the wrong way. Okay, so this is one that came to me by email. Here come my questions. Our dojo is a very young dojo where, other than our instructor, the rest of us are holding only Q levels. I'm currently the highest grade below him, holding first Q. First of all, would I be considered his senpai? If so, what do you think the senpai's responsibilities should be at this level? On the other hand, we recently started including short Jigeiko at the end of our practice, and I'm not quite sure how to deal with the lower Q grades, 3rd and 4th Q. How can I allow them to improve without being obvious that I'm allowing them to strike me? Obviously, I don't want to bash them, leaving them frustrated, but I don't want to be perceived as Uchikomi Geiko. Also, any tips on how to grow while doing Jigeiko as a motodachi with them? Many thanks for your continued help. Your videos and advice play a big role in my ongoing training. Good. I'm really glad to hear that. Okay, so first off, you wouldn't be considered his senpai because his senpai is someone senior to him. All right. I wouldn't worry too much about that sort of thing. But if it, you know, lots of clubs in the West often use the term senpai for the person that leads, like the day at the start, the lineup and stuff like that. It's not massively the correct term for it. It's not like the senpai. You don't really have that. But it is something that's developed sort of. I know it's not just in Kendo either. So I wouldn't worry too much about using the word senpai or not, but I just follow whatever instructions your teacher gives you in terms of what responsibility they want you to have in the dojo. Talk to them about it and see what they think you should be doing or what they want you to do. I think that's the best thing there because it's super contextual to what's happening in your club. In terms of doing the Jigeiko with the lower ranked people, the thing is, right, I know I've talked a lot about like seniors and juniors Jigeiko and there's different types, but like, how can I say this in the right way? Difference between 4th Q and 1st Q is really small, all right? So don't take that in the wrong way. I know it doesn't feel like it's really small, but in the whole overall scheme of things it is. So I don't want you to get too caught up on you have to do this kind of hikitate geiko like a sensei would do with people that are like third or fourth kyu because you're ikkyu. You need to be focusing on your improvement and your practice as well. That doesn't mean just destroy them. It just means practice. You've got you can practice what you need to practice in your keiko without too much regard for having to care about pulling them up. Now, having said that, obviously you've got a relationship with these people in the dojo, you know what stage they're at, and you are able to help them. So if you want to sort of give them sort of help in the keiko as well, you can do, but I wouldn't necessarily consider it a priority for you at this stage. It's more something that your sensei needs to be thinking about, especially once they get past third dan. The thing is that I think a lot of people sort of misunderstand is that, and it's difficult, and I'm partly to blame, I guess, because I've talked about this difference of types of keiko, especially when you practice with a senior and when you practice with a junior. The thing is like below third dan, everybody's still junior. I don't mean to sound that like from talking down or anything like that, but that, and I know that in the situation that lots of us are in, I was in the same when I first started out in kendo. Like third dan might be the highest level in your dojo, it might be higher than the highest level in your dojo, but it's like still an objective standard. You're still sort of working on the basics up until third dan. So it's not really fair. Like if you've got someone that's like second dan or third dan against someone who's like first kyu or something, it's not really fair to expect that second dan or third dan to do the proper hikitate geiko with that person who's, I don't know, second kyu or first kyu, because they don't have the experience to do that. All they should have the experience to do up to that point is how to train their own kendo. And like I say, it doesn't mean that they should just batter them, but it does mean that they don't have the experience to accurately judge how to do the hikitate geiko yet. Comes that with experience and time. So it's all I'd say for you at this point is I want you to kind of just concentrate on just doing what you've been taught. Doesn't mean you have to just rain down blows on them, but just try to make sure that you're making strikes that meet the criteria for Yuko Datotsu with Kikentai no Ichi, even against the lower level people. And if you want to sort of give them the chance to strike or something like that, you can have a bit of a practice at doing it, but you don't have to make it a priority, in my opinion. Next one. Hi Andy Sensei, is it okay to wear Kakobi when having shiai, an exam? Is it okay when wearing hakama? I use iaido knot where you make excess string to make it into a cross. Is it going to get in the way when wearing borga? You shouldn't really wear the Kakobi in the shiai or exam. It's not part of the kendo uniform. I know some people like to wear it. You shouldn't need to wear an obi in kendo. It's not necessary. I've heard sort of arguments for it, like, so it helps me engage the hara or something like that. It's like, well, why do you need an obi to do that? Like, you should be able to do that without the obi. To be honest, it's just my take on it. And look, there's plenty of very high grade and very well respected senseis that like using the obi. There's plenty that don't as well. I fall into the camp that is sort of, at least where I'm at the minute, that feels like I don't think it's super necessary. Kendo isn't iaido, all right? So I don't know why you want to do the iaido stuff in kendo. It's not okay to use like a tennis racket in a game of badminton. Even though the two sports look kind of similar. So I don't think you should do that. It's not really right to use the iaido knot either, tying your hakama. You should use the kendo one. So, because you're doing kendo, not iaido, and they're not the same. They're separate. So don't, I don't want you to... If I'm not going to go too much of a hot take on it. We've had one already today. But, if you're doing iaido as well, that's fine, but be careful not to let it bleed into your kendo because it will interrupt it. All right? That's going to be a hot take. That's going to upset some people. But sorry. That's the truth. Hi, Sensei. The other day, All Japan Judo Federation abolished their primary school championships due to the risk of competition and need to win at such an age, hindering physical and mental development. Many Japanese senseis in kendo have voiced their concern over kendo, especially in primary school, to high school students becoming overly competition focused. With this in mind, what are your views on this recent development? So I know what you're talking about. It's not quite how you're describing it, as far as I understand. So the Judo Federation, I think it used to have one All Japan level tournament for primary school children. All right, so that's children aged 6 to 12. All right, due to the risk of competition and need to win. The main reason that they gave, from what I understand, for abolishing this tournament wasn't the need to win from the kids, but from the dojos and from the parents. All right. Now there's a definite culture, and it exists a little bit in kendo as well, but it's not as aggressive and it's not as dangerous as it is in judo. It's not good. I'm not I'm not necessarily defending it, but the culture that exists in Japan, of junior kendo clubs, focusing predominantly on victory in shiai, and particularly pressure from the parents, definitely exists, and it's not super helpful in most contexts. However, in judo, it was getting to the point where it was presenting a clear and present danger to the children involved. What you've got to understand is judo is like much different to kendo in lots of ways, in that the level of physical contact is obviously very different. Now, what you were getting is, you were getting parents who were starving their 12-year-old children or 11-year-old children so that they didn't gain weight and go up a weight category in a judo tournament, right? That doesn't happen in kendo, right? It shouldn't happen in kendo. If it did, of course, then actions have to be taken. There was judo's had a bit of a problem in Japan over the last, not over the last so long, but it's had a historic problem of bullying from teachers and from senior judoka. There is issues that are historic involved in judo in Japan that I'm not an expert on, but I've just heard about in the periphery. So I could be wrong about some of it, so I get that. Now, it's a bit different to the situation with kendo. Many people would look at the way some old school kendo senseis teach children and call that bullying as well. I don't know the context within judo, all right? I don't know the context as within judo. However, there's a difference. I have heard of kids getting seriously injured or worse from overly enthusiastic, shall we say, judo instructors when they've got annoyed at them and tried to teach them or something like this, and they've got a bit over the top. Because obviously, if you throw a kid around physically and you're a grown adult, it can have serious sort of, you can do serious harm. Doesn't happen so much in kendo. You get some senseis who are really hardcore, really strict, really tough on the kids. Looks even like bullying from the outside. For the most part, from what I've seen, it's not though. This is hot take city in it today. It's hard to watch that. It's hard to watch, especially from a westernized point of view. So I don't want to get into it too much. But look, there is a issue with, some Japanese senseis say about high school kids or primary school kids, junior high school kids treating kendo, having too much focus on shiai and winning shiai. And it exists very much. The thing is you can't really suppress that too much, especially in youngsters. Shiai is the main driving force behind kendo in Japan for children. It's the only thing, not the only thing, but it's the main way that them, and more importantly, their parents who don't necessarily do kendo, but do fund them doing kendo, understand is the results of shiai. Is that they don't understand if it's good kendo or not. What they understand is whether it won or not. All right. Now, you might think that's wrong or whatever, but if you take that away, you are going to doom kendo to massive sort of, what can I say? Like, it's going to journey into obscurity because kids aren't just going to do it. Why would they do that? Parents aren't going to do it. They're not going to put the kids into Kendo. You're going to seriously damage Kendo if you take the importance, too much importance away from Shiai in kids in Japan. That isn't to say it should be the only thing. They should only care about winning. And the the strongest clubs, they don't even look at it like that. They really don't. You'll hear all sorts of stories, and you can ask any really strong kendoka from Japan, like, have you ever won the Shiai and then got told off by your sensei because they didn't like the way you won? Yeah, everyone's got that experience. So it's not just about winning, but what I'm saying is although you might hear these sort of older senseis complain about it, I don't think it's a good idea for them to do anything about it like the Judo Federation has, because it doesn't have the same issues involved with it that Judo does, at least not at this point. Now, if they want to talk about being too competitive, too sportified in Kendo, then, you know, I don't think they can get away either with really going after the high school kids without looking at what happens in, like, the police tournaments. So let's sort of leave that one out there. Look, Shiai is important. Competition's important in Kendo. It's not wrong to want to win the Shiai. Absolutely, it's not wrong. It's important to want to do that, actually. So, you know, no, I hope that, and I doubt that, that the All Japan Kendo Federation sees what's gone on with the Judo Federation and think, oh, that's a good idea. I don't think that will happen, and I really hope that it doesn't. I think, to some extent, Kendo's in a bit of trouble as it is in Japan at the minute because it's not a popular sport. So I'm using the word sport on purpose because that's how the general public perceives it. And I mean, it's the most popular Budo. It definitely is the most popular Budo, but it is seeing declining numbers because other sports are more popular, and becoming more popular. And if Kendo's not careful, if it distances itself too much from what the lay person can understand, then it's gonna drift into obscurity. And that's, you know, you might be elitist about it and say, well, it's good as long as it's right. It doesn't matter if it's popular. But yeah, all right. Well, look, it's not good for any of us if Kendo becomes obscure, and the All Japan Kendo Federation's got no money, and then there's no, you know, there's no senseis coming abroad sponsored by the All Japan Kendo Federation because they've got no money to do it, and you know, and this sort of thing. That isn't the way we want to go. All right. Oh, and it's nearly payday. Is it also Buy Shinai Day? Every day is Buy Shinai Day at KendoStar.com. Next one. What's the name of the situation when two kendoka put their shinai next to each other's throat? I'm so confused. So I think what you mean is like when they're separating and their shinai are really on the throat. There's no specific name for that. I have a product question this week. Are you able to mix match uniform sets? I'm finding I prefer cotton hakama over synthetic, but synthetic kendogi over cotton. I have the prior version of the kurenai hakama, and I really like that one, so I'm looking forward to trying the new one. Thanks. It's possible. You'll have to send us an email. It depends what you want to mix and match. We tend to get a better rate from our workshops when we buy things in sets. That's why you'll find that there's a better rate on our website for stuff offered in sets most of the time. But we might be able to sort something out. So fire us an email and we'll see what we can do. Okay, last one. For 25 years, I've never been able to figure this out. Any advice on how to remove rubs, i.e. not true scratches, from a dordai? I don't know how to describe this kind of mark, but it's very common. I've tried using shoe polish, which makes the rest of the dordai shine quite nicely, but it won't touch these marks, as if the shinai has been burned itself into the coating of the dordai, pick included. Okay, so there's a nice picture there. Yeah, these sort of scuffs are really common. They come off the shinai, usually the leather parts that do that. It is hard to clean them off. It's not really super easy to do it. I can't really give you advice as to... I can think of ways that I know how to get rid of them, but I don't want to necessarily recommend them, because if you do it wrong, it could really mess it up. So, look, it's not super important to get rid of them, I would say. There's not a lot that can really be done, because even some of the ideas that I've tried before don't get rid of all of them. Unfortunately, it's one of those things that is part and parcel of having a gloss finish. Dordai, unfortunately. They tend to kind of come and go over time, though. If you know what I mean, they kind of scuff out and sort of buff out again, and you get more. And it you know, it depends on the type of Dordai you've got, of course. But I don't think there's an excellent way to just delete them, shall we say. Okay, that's it for today. Thank you for joining me. Some fantastic questions there. Don't forget to shop at KendoStar. Have a fantastic weekend, and I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.